That's our focus today, all day on eNCA, as we focus on the state of infrastructure in schools around the country. Now, Equal Education says that the Eastern Cape has the highest number of schools without proper infrastructure. Yet last year, the Provincial Department had to return 200 million rand back to National Treasury. This after it failed to spend the money to upgrade the schools. Now, facilities are characterised by mud structures, there's overcrowding, as well as pit latrines. eNCA's Ronald Masinda is looking into this and joins us now from East London. Ronald, a very good morning to you. What is the state of the infrastructure? What is the state of the schools where you are today?
Good morning. Well, we are in Parkside Primary School. It is a school that we previously visited. And during our visit, we discovered that the school had previously had issues with regards to lack of security. We do understand that those issues have since been resolved. It is in an area where there's quite a lot of crime. So the concerns are that those who are behind the crime were the people who were destroying people's lives here at Parkside Primary. But we understand that the school, which was built in the late 60s, has got several other problems. The school's governing body chairperson is here to tell us more. Mr. Falco, thank you so much for your time. What are the problems?
One issue of our biggest problem is to rebuild the school. As you've mentioned, that the school has been built in the late 60s, and that it was built as a temporary structure. As you can see, even now, things are falling apart. Since there is governing body that is working, we are able to fix when it collapses until the government can come on board to rebuild the school, as they continuously promise us that they're going to rebuild the school. Another issue that we're also facing at the school is the issue of bullying among children, and also substance abuse that is on the social ills of our community. That's why we can find those problems, of which teachers are working in a very difficult conditions because of those issues that are happening at the school. We would like an intervention so that children can get counseling, taken to a place where they can be free of drugs and dacha. That's a substance that they are using currently, as small as they are. But those are the problems that we're facing.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I mean, it's a primary school. Yeah. Talk to us about what interventions has the Eastern Cape Education Department made to try and resolve these problems.
At this point in time, we have some NGOs that are assisting us. We do have a lady that is helping with the challenging children in the school. We've got an LSA that the department is also providing. That how little we can have at this point in time.
Looking around the school, we're also seeing, broken infrastructure. In terms of it causing health issues, have you encountered that problem with children?
At the moment, I cannot really say because I'm not professional on that side. But what I can also say, as we all know, that the asbestos has been abolished in South Africa, but we are still living in that condition. As you can see, this structure was built with asbestos as a temporary structure. Roof and the body of the classes, most of them are asbestos, of which can create more harm to children and the staff as well.
Finally, has the conditions at the school been a deterrence to pupils to come to school? Because we do understand that often we find that there's a lot of dropouts when we see broken infrastructure around the province.
Yeah, that I can also agree with you, because our numbers have a bit dropped to where we were before. Maybe this can also be the cause of that. That's my own opinion at this point in time.
Mr. Falco, thank you very much indeed for your time. We will continue our conversation and also try to get some comment from the Eastern Cape Education Department.
I'm wondering if there ever have been incidences where the roof has actually collapsed while the learners are in that roof, because what I'm seeing behind you is a roof that can collapse at any moment.
Yes, indeed, and cause for concern for learners. But what we understand as well is that this will be an issue that they will be raising in terms of the school with the Education Department. This school has been around for a long time, and to my understanding, 1967, there has not been any changes, and that's cause for concern.
It certainly is. Ronald Masinda out in the Eastern Cape for us this morning as we focus on the infrastructure of schools around the country. Thank you so much, Ronald. We'll be touching base with you throughout the course of the day. Gareth, one of the things that really startles me is that this school was built in 1960s. In the 1960s, they say, as a temporary structure using asbestos. This is 2023. What is a temporary structure still doing up and erect after so many decades, and especially because it's still made using asbestos? The health risks to the children there are just
staggering.
Gobsmacking.
And it is gobsmacking. You almost run out of words, the way to describe it as well. And this is the issue with it being a temporary structure. What are the plans that were put in place for a permanent structure? If this was the temporary, what was the thinking? What was the process behind getting a permanent structure in place? Credit that it's still standing. It shouldn't have asbestos, obviously not, but I think that's exactly what Ronald's going to try and figure out, is that was the temporary, where was the permanent structure supposed to be coming into play as well. And the scary part is that's just one school in one part of the Eastern Cape. There are other schools in even worse condition for where pupils have to go and try and get through their matric years, get through their standard 5 years, or grade 9, grade 8 these days. Forgive me, I've forgotten what it is, grade 8 these days, grade 7. There we go, thank you. And those are the kind of issues that we're trying to deal with today. So when we talk about infrastructure crises, that's what we're talking about, collapsing schools that haven't been maintained for the best part of 40 years, 50, 60 years, thereabouts.
And then money then being returned to Treasury by some, not being spent, not because there's nothing to spend it on, but I guess just a lack of will to do the work and to implement the necessary changes that even the naked eye can see.